spent 10 years in the federal system, 5 years on supervised probation and parole. I'm an ex-crack cocaine cook and dealer. I was a millionaire at the age of 19 selling crack cocaine in Southern California. I'm 49 years of age. I got in the drug business when crack first hit the streets back in 1982, coming out of high school. It's a part of my life that I'm not proud of. I grew up in a typical family in my neighborhood. No father, mother struggling, from generational poverty. The only dream I had as a youngster was to one day get a house on the hill with a white picket fence for my mother and my sister. It was the older homeboys in the neighborhood who manufactured dreams, right on the street corner. I never valued education as a kid, because my teacher failed in connecting the American dream to education. She didn't know me. She didn't understand me. She didn't understand what I went through and many of you went through in your life. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Latino, Asian. It doesn't matter if you grew up in the trailer parks, in the hood, in the barrio. It doesn't make a difference. At the end of the day, none of us was born convicted felons. We all embraced the lifestyle that eventually led us here. We all made poor choices. Everybody in this room, I don't care who you are, made some poor choices in their life. Everybody in this room have done something that they're not proud of in their life. We got caught. We impacted a generation of other young people on the streets from our lifestyle and how we carried ourselves. So here we are in a penitentiary. We're doing time. Our family members that's here today is in the penitentiary. And they're doing time right along with us. So we make those poor choices out there and we embrace those lifestyles, whether it's from methamphetamine, heroin, cocaine, gang banging, robbing, fraud, embezzlement, whatever your crime pedigree was at the end of the day. Other people suffer. But we have blinders on when we're out there because we have this selfish mentality. For whatever reason why we're out there hustling on the streets. We don't think about the victims. We don't think about the houses, the people who live in the houses that we broke in. We don't think about the victims and the family members, the individuals that we put hands on out there on the street, individuals that we shot, individuals that we sold drugs and different things of that nature. We don't think about that. We think about ourselves and our own selfish reasons for going out there and making money the way we did. Okay, we did what we did, now we're here. My expertise is personal transformation. I would have never have imagined in my 49 years that I would value education. Education is power. Education is money in the bank. Education is the only way to achieve the American dream the right way. And it's not always education in the books. It's not always book smarts. Because a GED, an associate's art degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a PhD doesn't guarantee you the American dream. That piece of paper. It gives you a sense of credibility, which is a good thing. But at the end of the day, you still have to have common sense. You still have to have the ability to communicate. You still have to have the ability to market and sell your set of skills out there in the world. But there's a strategy for success. I mean, it's not easy owning a home. It's not easy getting a job. It's not easy living an American dream. It's not easy to be able to go on vacations and have that house with the nice kitchen in the backyard and the swimming pool and be able to provide for your family and kids. There's a roadmap that leads to success. And when I was in prison, when I was 23 years old, I say today that prison saved my life. I didn't get arrested. I got rescued from the street. I thank God that I went to prison. I grew up in prison. I read my first book in prison. The first time I ever was called son by a man was in prison. The first time I was ever told that I was smart was in prison. The first time I ever believed in myself was in prison. So the foundation of personal transformation, the foundation of shaking that criminal intellect, that criminal mentality, that criminal thinking pattern is by discovering who you are. And I discovered who I was in prison. From my many weeks in SHU, the hole, from my many times living in J Block in the cells, and back in the dormitories, the years I spent in the kitchen cooking, the years I spent walking the track, the years I spent in the law library, helped me to find who I was. And once I was able to discover who I was, I got a new set of lenses on my eyes. The blinders came off, and I began to see myself different. I began to see the world different, because that's what it's about at the end of the day, is how do you see yourself? It's believing in who you are, believing that you was born with a gift, just like everybody else. Everybody was born with God-given talent and a God-given gift. But you have to discover that gift and become passionate about that gift. And let me tell you something. The penitentiary, believe it or not, is the right place for us to discover who we are, because on the streets, we're caught up in the mayhem. We're caught up in the lifestyle. So we're not thinking about change. But in here, you have the time. This is the fix me time. This is the personal transformation time. This is the time to figure out who you are. You see, I turned federal prison into federal university. This is not a federal prison, this is a penitentiary. So you have to turn the penitentiary into Penn University. Self-education. I call it street smarts. The gift you had on the street, the ability to analyze people, the ability to sell and market drugs or whatever it is that you was doing out there. Those are skills within their own right. The only difference between those sales, marketing, PR, branding skills is the product and how you conduct business at the end of the day. So I knew that I had to change the product. And this is what a guy told me in prison. He says, Anderson, you a smart dude. I said, what do you mean? No one ever told me I was smart. He says, all you gotta do is change the product. What's the product? The product was me. The product was you. So I had to begin that journey of getting the blinders off, because let me tell you, we were all incarcerated before we was physically incarcerated. We were mentally incarcerated. And many people are mentally incarcerated. Many of our family members are mentally incarcerated. When you come from poverty, when you come from abusive and traumatized upbringings, when you're mentally incarcerated, when you put your own mental prisons around your intellect, the way you think, the way you see things, the way you conduct your life. You put barriers saying that you can't do this. You'll never be able to move out the hood or move out the trailer park or move out the projects. You set your own self-imposed limitations. Until you release yourself mentally, you can never be free. They can lock us up all day long, but they can't take our mind away from us. You gotta get your mind right while you're here. You gotta shake the way and get rid of the way you used to think. When I started reading books, and I started reading National Geographics, when I started watching 60 Minutes, 2020, Primetime Live, when I started reading the newspapers, and I started building powerful relationships with some of the brightest minds on the prison yard, it allowed me to see myself different when I get out. Because there's some brilliant minds up in here, let me tell you. You guys are geniuses in your own right. It's just that the genius and the intellect was corrupted. You understand? See, we know how to survive. We know how to make $1 out of 15 cents. We know how to make a flavored drink called Jim Jones out of some powder and some H2O. We know how to create nice meals that's fulfilling for us in here with top ramen noodles, squeezed cheese, summer sausages, canned tuna, canned chicken, or a little bit of onions and boiled eggs we may smuggle out the kitchen in our pocket from time to time. That's reality. See? So when I was in there, I said to myself, what am I going to do when I get out? Because I became addicted to knowledge, addicted to information. I wanted to learn. I figured out how my brain works. Your brain is like a PC. You're not born knowing how to use this. You have to learn how to use your brain by being inspired and exposed to different experiences and conversations. So being in prison, one of the most diverse places on earth, allowed me to build on the life experiences of other people incarcerated that didn't look like me. So I already had the homeboy swagger, because I came up in the streets of 83rd and Normandy in South Central LA, Skyline and Meadowbrook in Southeast San Diego. I got that. So I wanted to build relationships with individuals who've been around the world. who were Chinese, Jewish, Muslim, intellectuals, highly educated individuals, highly skilled individuals. So I took bits and pieces of all these life experiences, which helped me figure out the roadmap for me. Then I wound up working in the prison kitchen. It became the head inmate cook, started out washing dishes. When I got out the hole, I had extra duty in the kitchen, busting suds. Then all the homeboys in the kitchen, Big Roy and Philly Foreman, brought me in the kitchen. I started cleaning chicken, steaming vegetables, setting up the buffet line, setting up the salad bar. I got good, I was fast, I was creative. Then for the first time in my life, I was being praised for something good. Then I became the head inmate cook, eventually the head inmate baker. So when you look at these cookies right here, let me tell you something. When you look at these cookies, the cinnamon rolls I had when I was here last year, the meatloaf, the shit on the shingle, the biscuits and gravy, that gravy's made over with the leftover sausages and bacon for 2 days ago. The grits, the oatmeal, the chop suey, the chicken suey, the beef stew. Don't sleep on that. I turned prison cuisine into gourmet cuisine. And the only difference between prison cuisine and gourmet cuisine is the ingredients and the china. That's the only difference. So when I walked out of prison in 1996, I went on a recon mission. Just like when you're on the street, you're selling drugs. Or you get ready to jack somebody, right? You just don't go jack somebody. You just don't go rob somebody. You just don't go sell dope in a neighborhood without having information, right? You need to know who's on the block, what undercover police is working in that particular area. So I went back to my old way of thinking when I was going for a job, that I couldn't just go out there and knock on the door. I had to go on a recon mission and study and figure out all the restaurants, all the companies, all the chefs, all the individuals who were hiring to get intel on them. And as I got intel on them, I identified a chef by the name of Robert Gadsden, one of the top black chefs in the world. Worked for Thomas Keller, Joe Robuchon, Alan DeCoste, opened up Raquel in New York, Checkers in LA. And I went to this guy and said, listen, my name is Jeff Henderson. I was just released from prison. I'm a convicted felon. Here's a script. Take a mental note. When I was young, I made some wrong choices. But from those wrong choices, I'm a better person today. And if you give me an opportunity, I will prove to you that I'm worthy and I'm capable of doing this job. And then I would offer an extra, a bonus package if you hire me. Instead of a 90-day probation, sir, give me a 30-day probation, sir. And guess what? I come with my own personal manager, my parole officer. He's gonna come check on me, make sure I'm gonna work on time. He's gonna make me pee in a bottle. He's gonna make sure I'm doing all the right things. You see? So I was up front. You pay me for 3 days, I work 2 days for free. Whatever it takes to get in. But coming out of prison, I had the disease of incarceration, which you don't know anything about unless you're a habitual felon and you've been in and out of the system. Coming out of the system, family members. We're institutionalized. We're plagued with claustrophobia, paranoia. We're leery of large crowds and groups of people. We're very threatened and intimidated by individuals who didn't come from the world that shaped us over the years. I had to get rid of the mean mug. Had to quit staring down people. Like in a joint, they call it reckless eyeball. Or they call it mean mugging somebody because we don't smile. I had to learn to smile when I got out the joint because I was yoked up. I had about some 18-inch guns. I had chest, 8-pack, big back, traps, and shoulders. But I had no behind and no legs. Because we don't do lower body in prison, we just want to be yoked up from the waist up. Like an upside down bowling pin. That's the first sign that employer people on the street say, that dude just got out the joint. Because you mean mugging, you skinny, down here, yoked up here. They scared of us. So I had to humble myself. One of the first investments I made was getting my grill fixed. Look at that. I've been out of prison 17 years. And I probably have close to $15,000 invested in my mouth over the past 15 years. And let me tell you why I had to get my grill fixed. Because the places that I wanted to work, the Ritz-Carlton, the Hotel Bel Air, Marriott, the L'Ermitage, Bellagio, Caesar's Palace, all the chefs and employees worked there looked beautiful. Had a nice smile and a nice grill. I clean shaved my face so I can look soft, so I can look square, non-threatening, non-intimidating. I made sure I had no hair coming out of my nose. So I was constantly clipping the hair on my nose. When you get over 40, we start getting hair coming out of our ears. So I made sure I didn't have hair coming out of my ears. I had to straighten up the way I walk. Because you know, in prison, you know, we all representing. We all got to stand our ground. We all got to let other individuals know that we ain't no punk. So I had to straighten up the way I walk. So I had my old prison stroll, my old street stroll. You know, I used to bail like this. That's how I used to walk. Back in the day. I still walk like that sometimes. Because I'm still cool. But I couldn't walk up into corporate America. I had to adapt the corporate swagger, the conservative swagger, the suburban swagger. I had to straighten up the way I want. So my models were successful people in my genre of work, which was culinary. So I studied all the corporate boys, the wristwatch, the wedding bands. I went and got my hands manicured. I got facials. I had my woman doing facials for me. I took the razor and cut the hair between my brow. So I looked polished to make that felony jacket disappear. So my this is how my corporate walk is, just like this. Check this out. Real gay. Your brother is an expert at making this go away. Don't worry, I don't have a chest bomb on me tonight. Been through security. The felon jacket. See? The felon jacket. That's the key. Is making that disappear. Because when you walk out of prison, after years of incarceration, it's like somebody stamped you on your forehead and put a flak jacket on you that says convicted felon. And they train the HR executives. They train them to spot us because they can't discriminate against you because you're a convicted felon because you can have a lawsuit on them. They can't discriminate against you because you've been to prison or you're a felon, but they do. So when I went in and after I gave my script, I would be like, how are you, sir? My name is Jeff Henderson. Oh my goodness. I can't believe I'm finally interviewing at the world-renowned Bellagio Hotel. I know so many great things about this property. It's my dream to work here. And the lady was like, what is this guy on? And then before she even got to the check in the box, I already sold her on my persona, my communication skills, my eye-to-eye contact, my humbleness, my look, square suit, funny-looking Johnson & Murphy shoes that I would have never wore back in the day, corporate belt, square shirt, funny-looking trendy eyewear, goofy look. But that's how the people look who get the jobs and get paid. So are we worried about what the homeboys our cellies and other people on the street think about us. You can't worry about what they think about. You have to do you. When you get out of prison, you have to build a smarter than you team. And what I'm telling you is what every felon needs to know. What every felon needs to know are all of these strategies I'm laying out here. Because your brother been through it. And I didn't always win. There were times I got doors closed on me. And I took that as a learning example. I never chased the money when I got out of prison. Never chased money in career building. You chase opportunity. You chase access. You chase unique, extraordinary, strategic relationships. Because it's relationships that ultimately get you the opportunity. And when you get the opportunity, you get access. You keep your eye on the money, but don't chase money. You chase the opportunity, become a master and an expert at whatever career choice you're being in. Because once you become the best at whatever it is that you do legit on the streets, you can name your own price. Money will always come. Never chase the money. You chase the opportunity. This is your moment right here. This ain't about me. Today is about you. Because you guys are stand-out individuals. You guys separate yourself from the wannabes who say they're going to do the right thing when they get out of prison. You're on the front row in front of your families today. This is a shining moment. You guys are accomplishing things that I never accomplished when I was in prison. I just have a prison GED. This is your time to find out who you are. This is your time to take the knowledge, the information, the education, the opportunity that you're getting right here, right now, and prepare yourself to re-enter to society. Many of us have family members out there. You know what? They don't want us to come home. They do and they don't. Some of them, not all of them. They be like, man, Tyrone getting ready to get out here. He gonna come back to the house and I don't know what to expect. A grocery bill gonna go up. You know, is he gonna get back out there in the streets? No, I know, because when I walked out, nobody had a key for me for their house. They didn't know what I was gonna do when I got out of prison. I had to make my own way. So you have to think about all of the worst case scenarios. As a felon and a formerly incarcerated individual, we can no longer be ordinary people. Everything about you has to be extraordinary in every move and step you make. There's no room for failure. Everything about you has to be done on a high level. So when you go back to your dorm, your bunk, your cell, look in the mirror at yourself. Do you still look like you looked the day you walked up in here? Do you still look like that individual and talk like that individual before you came to prison when you was on the streets? It's up to you at the end of the day. There's only two worlds. This world and that world out there. If you don't learn how to play the rules, called the game of life.
Respect what I want to do with myself, you know what I'm saying, what it takes not to come back to the penitentiary, you know what I'm saying, well, I need to get my life on track so I can have a career and better myself for my children, wake up and look at my children every day, instead of wake up and looking at these penitentiary inmates and convicts in here every day. So it's a different world here, it's a different society, you know, it's true, everything that goes on here is true, everything that's been spoken about today is true. I just want to give you a reflection on it today.
What about you, my man? What's your name?
Hey, man, I'm very thankful, you know, that you, first of all, that you came down here to see us, man. You know, the words that you gave to us, man, while we were sitting back and listening to you, man. You know, they was powerful, man, you know what I mean? And they really do mean something, you know. I just want you to know that, you know. Man, hopefully when I get out of here, man, you know, I can keep my life focused, man. I know it's going to be hard, but, you know, it's one step at a time.
Well,
that's what it's about at the end of the day, is making this me time, fix me time, you know? Because sometimes we get caught up in that prison life and we forget about the outside world, right? So I do this 60-40 rule. The 60-40 rule, where 60% of my mentality is inside, but I keep 40% on the outside. So you don't get so consumed with prison life, and you get out, you can't function out there. That's really what it's about, man. I read a lot of books in prison. Let me tell you, you guys definitely can make it. I want to thank you, brother.
Thank you.